probably about ready to get started.
Yep.
Yeah, and then if yeah, that would be
Now
great.
Eric's on 3 times on here.
Yeah, Eric is making sure everything goes, and if you can go ahead and pin, I don't believe I'm co-host anymore, so I have I have no permissions to do anything.
I know.
All right. Fabulous. Well, yeah, and if you put it into slideshow mode up there on the right, it'll fill the screen. Uh, right there, the slideshow. Yeah, that should do it. Fabulous. Well, welcome all. If you are unmuted, you may want to go ahead and mute yourself at this time. And welcome to the First UU Church of Indiana, Pennsylvania. It's a pleasure to be joining all of you who are here on Zoom, additional people who might be joining us on YouTube. Streaming capacity. Do make sure that you're muted for the entirety of worship until coffee hour begins so that we don't have shifting videos. I'm going to invite you now to take a breath and then join us in singing our prelude hymn today. It'll be number 221, Light One Candle, and it's performed for us by the UU congregation of Grafton and Upton in Massachusetts. Oh, next slide, and then should have a video. Yeah. Then we can end screen share. All right. Welcome and good morning. I'm the Reverend Elizabeth Mount, the pastor here at the First Unitarian Universalist Church of Indiana, Pennsylvania. I'm so glad to be here with you. On behalf of the entire congregation, thank you. Whether you're here on Zoom or YouTube, we really appreciate you taking the time to be together with us in this space. If you're joining us for the first time, welcome. Please go ahead and send an email to office@firstuu-indianapa.org to let us know if you'd like to join our newsletter mailing list. And I want to invite you, if you'd like to leave your camera on here in our Zoom room, we really find that that's a way that seeing one another's faces adds to our community connection on Sundays. If you prefer to turn it off or you need to for bandwidth, we also really understand that. There are a diversity of ways that we are able to join. On Zoom, do notice there's a little chat speech bubble in the middle of your toolbar just below the video screen. We use that feature for greetings, for joys and concerns during the service, so just make sure you know where to locate that. The First UU Church of Indiana, Pennsylvania is a member congregation of the Unitarian Universalist Association. We are self-governing congregations united in a web of mutuality that creates our denomination. We have no creed or doctrine. Rather, we teach that all individuals have the right and the responsibility to discern and follow their own spiritual paths. We come together to support and assist one another on our journeys and to build the beloved community together. I invite you to stay after the service to greet one another and rejoice in our mutual presence. We'll open up the microphones here on Zoom for coffee hour and sort you into small breakout rooms for a little while. You're welcome to join us for that time and be together in shared conversation. Don't forget there's soup this week. So pick up your soup if you've already made an order, or contact Nana Randall to place orders for pickup next Saturday and Sunday, or the Saturday and Sunday after that. We have 3 weeks of soup, and this is just the first. I'm going to turn the microphone over for a moment to Mark Mincer with a suggestion for your holiday giving.
That's a little unexpected. We have gift cards available. I mean, we've always had gift cards for the local grocers, Giant Eagle and Martin's, but with Shop with Script, we have gift cards available for most any Christmas gift you'd want to give. I had put in chat that I had switched to ordering gift cards on Mondays because their processing has been delayed a little bit. So typically I was ordering them on Tuesdays, and now I'm not getting them until the following Monday. So if I order them on Mondays, I have them by Friday. And there will be another order going in tomorrow. So if you have reason to believe that you're going to be giving away gift cards for anybody for Christmas this year, please go log into Shop with Script and look at their selection, or send me an email or a text or whatever, and I can help you guide you through buying gift cards that help support our church. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And as we continue to hold hope that our COVID numbers will come down in the next few days, know that even if they do not, we will be figuring out not only online options for our classes and things we already have planned, but also looking at doing some outdoor activities. So if you are interested in helping to plan an outdoor holiday gathering, or able to offer gifts of music or firewood, just contact myself or a board member and let us know that you are willing. We would love to get together with you. And now I invite you to take a gentle breath and center yourself in a spirit of worship. Our call to worship is by Rachel Hayes. In a time that was long ago, in a time that is now, things seem impossible. Brave people fought and survived, holding close to what matters most, creating a future for their children, honoring the lessons of their forebears. They were so tired. But every time their strength almost failed, they found just a little bit more. Surrounded by enemies, they lit a tiny bit of oil to say to each other, "This matters." To say to the ages, "This is who we are." To say to their God, "You above all." They knew they did not have enough oil to last, but the oil did last. Still they set flame to wick. They had come too far not to do so. And one night's oil burned for 8 nights. For God, for the ages, for each other, in a time that was long ago, in a time that is now. People find fuel and dare to set fire to it, knowing that it could not last. But sometimes it lasts. Sometimes it lasts. And now, let us light our chalice flame. On Zoom, you might type "the flame is lit" and tell us where you are joining us from in the chat bar. The words for our chalice lighting will be on your screen in just a moment. If you'll join me. A light kindled, a miracle that lasts, reminds us of the past and gives a new glow to all that we aspire to become. Let us rekindle joy. Let us rekindle faith. Let us make room for the gift of love in this holy hour. And now, let us hear Penny Vick, our Director of Religious Exploration, sharing the story Hanukkah Lights Everywhere with us.
Good morning. Today I will be reading you a book by Michael J. Rosen called Hanukkah Lights Everywhere. Good morning. Today I will be reading you a book by Michael J. Rosen. Good morning. Today I will be reading you a book by Michael J. Rosen called Hanukkah Lights Everywhere, what goes along with our theme of sharing joy and today's sermon about lighting up our lives. On the night before Hanukkah, we ready the house for company. My sister helps Dad make up the extra beds, and Mom peels apples for applesauce. I put a new box of candles by the menorah that's waited all year, just like me, for the Festival of Lights. On the first night of Hanukkah, we say the prayers and light one candle with the tall helper candle. Outside, the skinny moon beams like a proud candle flame against the dark sky. On the second night of Hanukkah, two headlights aim right through the window into the living room, where my sister and I spin the dreidel on the floor. Hey, Grandpa's here. On the third night of Hanukkah, I switch on the lamps out front so that my cousins who are coming to visit can find our door. And suddenly, there are 3 more lights, like in our menorah. On the fourth night of Hanukkah, I find our 4 lights in the kitchen. Mom fries up platters full of latkes, and 4 flames flicker under the sizzling skillets and the pots steaming on the stove. On the 5th night of Hanukkah, my great-grandma gives me 5 shiny silver dollars, one for every birthday I've had. When I line them up on my hand, they stretch from my tippy top fingertip, past my wrist, and up my arm. They sparkle like 5 more lights in the candle's glow. On the 6th night of Hanukkah, my family takes a walk down the snowy covered streets. And guess what? 6 other houses have menorahs gleaming in their windows. On the 7th night of Hanukkah, at my best friend's house, where he celebrates Christmas, a lamp with just 1 bulb burns in each window. 7 altogether. Just like in our menorah tonight. Dad says that Hanukkah is also about the joy of different religions sharing a street. On the 8th night of Hanukkah, I find all 7 stars in the Dipper, plus the famous North Star above us, as though God, too, were lighting his own menorah in the sky. On the 9th night, which isn't even Hanukkah anymore, and the next night after that, and even today, I still see things that remind me of our menorah. And I think about Hanukkah and about being Jewish in such a wide world of so many other lights. The end.
Thank you so much. And at this time in our worship service, we invite you to pass the sign of peace with one another online by typing a short blessing for all those present in our chat. You might say something like, "Peace be with you," "Namaste," "Shalom," "Salam alaikum," "Bright blessings," or "Blessed be." Peace with one another online by typing a short blessing for all those present in our chat. You might say something like, "Peace be with you," "Namaste," "Shalom," "Salam alaikum," "Bright blessings," or "Blessed be." Peace with one another online by typing a short blessing for all those present in our chat. You might say something like, "Peace be with you," "Namaste," "Shalom," "Salam alaikum," "Bright blessings," or "Blessed be." Peace. And now, for our you moment, as we thank you for sharing blessings with one another. We have Liz Cook here with us to share a bit about our beyond categorical thinking and how that went for everyone. Thank you, Liz.
Thank you. I hope everyone can hear me. So yesterday and Friday, we had 2 90-minute sessions of discussion and thinking about our stereotypes possibly, or categorical thinking about a minister. The BCT workshop stands for Beyond Categorical Thinking, and we had about 16 or 17 people attend each session, mostly the same people, but a couple differences due to scheduling. And I want to mention that we did have a few from the Ligonier Fellowship who are hoping for a 75-25% shared minister. It's not official, but so it's up to the minister applicants, you know, whether or not they want to pursue that. And I wanted to put that out there. So I'll only take a couple of minutes. because a lot of the attendees today actually attended the workshop this weekend, I noticed. So first we filled out a survey beforehand, which got us thinking about concerns that we as individuals and as thinking about the whole congregation, what concerns we might have about a prospective minister, if they were a minister, a person of color, Latino, Latina, Hispanic, or other race, or someone with a disability, or someone who identifies as bisexual, gay, lesbian, transgender. We also listed benefits that we might have from any of these groups of people, and talked about how different our lives might have been. This is all these practices, these exercises. How might your life have been different if you were not a female but a male, or if you were not straight but gay, or a different race? And it got us thinking about all of these questions. It was very interesting. And one thing, if you could close your eyes right now, especially if you didn't do this before, and just for a moment, picture in your mind a minister. And think about what image came up. Is that a woman? Is it a man? Is it a person of color? Is it not? And what our ideas in our minds are is one thing because of our experience and our past, but what is out there and what we might be overlooking because it's not part of our mental image of what minister looks like. So let's see, I think I covered pretty much everything except that mostly the second day, yesterday, Saturday from 10 to 11:30, we broke out into groups and talked about case studies that are real instances where these kinds of questions came up and how people on a search team should deal with it, on the congregation. Another thing that came up was, there were so many case studies, about 20 or so. And one of them was about microaggressions and how people do this and maybe not be aware of it, and how we should all become aware of these little things that we do that might be considered aggressions. And so that's about it. We are moving right along with the search team. I think we're pretty much on track. Does anybody have any questions? Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much, Liz. Let me replace spotlight so you can see me while I talk. So beyond categorical thinking, as Liz said, is one of the ways in which we are making sure that we are values-centered and values-forward in how we go about that search process that is a full congregational process. So knowing that, to remind us of our shared values, I ask you now to join me in reading our 7 principles as they appear on your screen. We covenant to affirm and promote the inherent worth and dignity of every person, justice, equity, and compassion in human relations, acceptance of one another and encouragement to spiritual growth in our congregations, a free and responsible search for truth and meaning, the right of conscience and the use of the democratic process within our congregations and in society at large, the goal of world community with peace, liberty, and justice for all, and respect for the interdependent web of all existence of which we are a part. Our centering words are by Kendall Gibbon. 2 things about the light of Hanukkah. First, put away the sewing. Set down the clock that is losing time and needs to be adjusted, the bank statements to be reconciled, the penmanship and the spelling exercises to complete, the dried beans to sort by size. Look at the light. It is not to be spent in diligence, dutifully illuminating tasks, but seen from the eye to the mind, to the memory, to the heart, to the soul. From beauty to gratitude, to faith, praise the light and the source of light. Be inspired. Do not use the light. Do not lose the holiness of this moment in the press of ought to be done. It is forbidden to work by the light of these candles. Would you burn your love's last letter for kindling? Watch the glow like jewels against the velvet of night sky. Waste this light in awe, as in the ancient temple it is said they burned the oil, profligate for reverence and thanks. Blessed is the shaping of our lives by commandment and memory. Blessed is the light. Second, put a lamp in the window, in a doorway, on the balcony, in the front yard, on the village green, in Times Square. Release its beauty to public view. Do not hoard the light. It is not yours to gloat over in private. Wherever, whenever it is safe, announce the miracle. Invite the neighborhood to remember with you. Perhaps next door they only half recall the story from some dim childhood ritual. Perhaps your 4 flames and 5, 6 may wake their dedication anew, or in the city of 1,000 names for God or none at all, those faithful candles might remind the hurried, the fallen, the defeated of heart that beauty is yet possible, that the intention of higher purpose endures, even to rouse the captive mind to curiosity. What's the story with those lights? It's an opening for the work of spirit. Testify. Let the tongues of flame bear witness to the world that miracles abound and joy abides. Blessed is the heritage of freedom. Blessed is the custom that illuminates our common darkness. Blessed is the sharing of the light. Though we are not a Jewish congregation, we do light a menorah for Hanukkah as an educational activity for those who are not Jewish, and to honor and be in solidarity with the home celebrations of those who are religiously or culturally Jewish among us. Joanna Lubkin has graciously shared this video to assist us in understanding the practice of lighting our candles. So we'll take just a moment for technical difficulties and we'll be right with you.
Seventh day of the holiday. This year, Hanukkah starts a little early on the secular calendar, falling before the winter solstice, when the nights are still getting longer. This feeling of the days getting shorter and shorter calls to my mind this teaching, this legend from the Talmud. The rabbis imagined Adam, the first person, in the Garden of Eden. And Adam notices that the days are getting shorter and darker, and it's the very first winter solstice. And Adam is absolutely terrified, and he is convinced that the world is ending and his death is imminent. So Adam fasts and he prays for 8 days. After the solstice passed, the days gradually start getting longer, and bit by bit, the light came back. Adam was so relieved as he realized that the coming and going of the darkness was simply part of how the world worked, that the following year he celebrated and feasted for 8 days, the celebration of Hanukkah. This story speaks to our shared human need for light, for feasting, and for celebrations at this time of year. In all of the ways that we celebrate over these next few weeks, whether it's a celebration that you grew up with, sharing in a loved one's rituals, or creating a brand new tradition, may it bring more light and warmth into this world. So while traditionally Jewish families like my own wouldn't light our Hanukkah menorahs until after nightfall, I want to share the ritual with you. So we're going to light the candles for the 7th day, and I'll sing the blessings in Hebrew, altering the name for God a little bit to save the blessings for after sundown. You're invited to sing along in Hebrew and then to say the words together with me in English. Baruch atah Adoshem Elokeinu melech haolam Asher kiddeshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Chanukah. Baruch atah Adoshem Elokeinu melech haolam she'asa nisim lavotenu bayamim hahem b'azman hazeh. And we say together in English, Blessed are you, source of all, who brings moments of holiness to our lives through the ritual of lighting the Hanukkah lights. Blessed are you, source of all, who brings our attention to miracles from ages past to this very moment. And let us say, Amen. Happy Hanukkah, happy holiday season to you all in all of the ways that you celebrate.
And during our centering music, which comes next, if you have joys or sorrows you would like spoken aloud, please go ahead and write them in the chat to be woven into our shared pastoral prayer. Miracle, our centering song, is a fun, upbeat song by Matisyahu. It's sung here by the Maccabees as a Hanukkah celebration. I invite you to make room for joy in this tune and let the Spirit move you if you'd like to sway or sing along.
Just living in the miracle, candles on my vehicle, 8-night, gonna shine invincible, no longer be divisible, born through the struggle, keep on moving through all this hustle, head up, head down through all of the bustle, New York City wanna flex your muscle, look so down, look so puzzled, all around your fire through all the rubble, bound to stumble and fall, but my strength comes not from man at all, bound to stumble and fall, but my strength comes not from man at all. Do you believe in miracles? And am I hearing you? And am I seeing you? 8 nights and 8 lights and these rights keep me right and bless me to the highest heights with your miracles. Against all odds, drive on till tomorrow. Wipe away your tears and your sorrow. Sunrise in the sky, like an arrow. No need to worry, no need to cry. Light up your mind, no longer be blind. Him who searches will find. Leave your problems behind, it will shine like a fire in the sky. What's the reason we're alive? The reason we're alive is stumble and fall, but my strength comes not from man at all. Bound to stumble and fall, but my strength comes not from man at all. Do you believe in miracles? Am I hearing you? Am I seeing you? In 8 nights and 8 lights and these rights keep me right and bless me to the highest heights with your miracle.
It's a number of infinity, one more than what you know how to be. And this is the light of festivity, when your broken heart yearns to be free. Do you believe in miracles? Am I hearing you? Am I seeing you? 8 nights and 8 lights, these rights keep me right. Bless me to the highest heights with your miracle. Do you believe in miracles? Am I hearing you? Am I seeing you? 8 nights and 8 lights, and these rights keep me right and bless me to the highest heights with your miracle. Miracle, 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 miracle,
I want to thank
So now, if you'll join me in a spirit of meditation and prayer. Dear Spirit of life, creative force, God who is seen in love, some arise today optimistic, closer to another new year, ready to jump ahead in the calendar. Some are sure of someone or something new coming into our lives, ready to change everything. Others arise today quiet, doubtful, saddened, tired, perhaps with fear residing in our hearts. The longest night of the year is still ahead. Give us space and let us hear one another's prayers, shared in community. Let us hold in our hearts Glenn Sims. We are glad that Glenn is home from the hospital and continue to hold space and hold all of the Sims family in our hearts. This is a long and hard journey. And also Liz Cook's family, who said goodbye to their beloved cat, Frank, who passed just the day before Thanksgiving at age 11. Let us hold space for grief. And also let us hold space in our hearts for what is good, for renewal. Judith and Juanita share that walls are primed and painting has begun in their home. And we are so thankful that this long journey of return after a fire is moving along one more step. And we say happy birthday to Emily Reddy, who is one of the board members over at State College, Pennsylvania's UU Church of Center County. She's 40, and I got to share in a birthday celebration yesterday and bring greetings. And so, for all that is good in our lives, for the community that we share, even though we cannot be in person again, let us hold gratitude. Let us let go of expectations. Let us make room for joy without expecting that all must be joyful in this holiday season. Let us settle in the dark to be with what is real, to wonder at the miracles of now. Let us make room for growth and change, the flowing seasons on this earth, the force of life. Help us let the dark to be and to do its work upon us in this time of the year. Blessed be, and amen. And we now come to that time where we give back to the community. At the First Unitarian Universalist Church of Indiana, we share the plate, giving a portion of every week's donations to an organization outside of the church in our local community. This is part of our congregation's mission to promote compassionate and responsible thought and action in the world. So when you give this morning, you're making an impact not only for this congregation, but also in the wider community. And each December, our Share the Plate recipient is ICAP, whose Power Pack program makes sure food and necessities are sent home for children for whom school lunches are their most reliable nutritional supplement for those whose family incomes are not enough to sustain all within the home. The Power Packs make sure that the vacation time, which so many of us experience as a blessing, does not become a time of deprivation for families in need. So for all of us, I ask that you give generously. Our congregation is often filled with those who have a bit extra. We are so glad that you take seriously the call of our shared faith to give beyond our walls, fostering equity and compassion in human relations, and building a world filled with peace and with joy this holiday season. Please give generously as you are able to the work of this church. You can drop off or mail checks or send via our PayPal link as we share in singing our offertory hymn.
From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and by this we live. From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and by this we live.
And despite having precisely one person here, we did get a live donation. So thank you, Eric, for more than just support. These offerings are gratefully received. Today, we focus on the story of Hanukkah. For those who may not know the story, long ago, the Jewish people lived in the land of Israel, the land of Judah, and the Greeks controlled that land. The Greeks were pagans who asked that pagan offerings be given to their gods and to the support of the king, who was seen almost as a god. Now, the Jews had been commanded to have no other gods before me, that there is no God but God. And so there were problems. There were problems on and on. And the Jews felt oppressed. The Jews decided, the Maccabees went up into the hills surrounding the towns, and they fought. And they came down, this small guerrilla force came down from the mountains and expelled the Greeks in their town from the temple. But the temple had been used for sacrifices that were not for the Hebrew God, and so it must be cleansed. We don't often talk about what happens after a great battle, but this is the point of the story, not the fighting, not there was a battle and then we wiped our swords and we were done, but there was a battle, and then there was cleaning, and then we had to get out the bleach and the vinegar and wipe down the pulpit and the altar. And then we had to put up boughs and beautifying things. And then we had to reconsecrate the space. And then we had to relight the lights. But there was not enough oil to light the eternal flame and keep it lit until more oil could be brought from a neighboring village. And so they thought, perhaps all this work has been done in vain. We've had those thoughts now and again. I bet a lot of you, sometimes even me, are thinking, you know, it's been COVID a long time. I got my shot. My whole family got their vaccines. We've had boosters, and perhaps it's all been in vain as a new variant comes, as people fail to be vaccinated and caseloads rise in this. Perhaps it has all been in vain. But perhaps that makes this the perfect story for today. For this, the waiting time of the year, the time when celebrations are coming, festivals of lights, turning points are yet to be reached in that eternal cycle of the sun. It's cold. The days are gray and not very long. The sun rises late, it sets early. And yet, in the waiting time, there is a cycle. There is a promise. We believe that in the great, eternal everything, good outweighs bad. Love defeats hate. That there is peace and joy and a return of the light, and springtime will come in just a few short months. So there is hope. But if we think all the way back, those thousands of years ago, hope, perhaps, but no certainty of outcome had been promised. That waiting time was not a time to sit and allow an inevitable cycle to happen simply because it has happened, whether for 2,000 years or 9,000 or 15,000. This is not a story of paralysis, but one of motivation. Miguel de la Torre, a Christian ethicist from the Iliff School of Theology, has said the first step toward liberation requires the crucifixion of hope. For as long as hope exists, the world's wretched have something to lose, and thus will not risk all to change social structures. The realization that there is nothing to lose becomes a catalyst for praxis. Well, those fancy words are to say that the Maccabees didn't go up into the hills and simply pray. They went up into the hills for prayer and planning. A good prayer is one that motivates, that brings spirit and creativity into our lives where we can use them and be with them. When we think of our own history, Theodore Parker's moral arc of the universe, as was quoted by Martin Luther King Jr., is not an arc that bends toward justice by itself. It's an arc we bend. History continues on and on until we make a choice to move on that path. Thich Nhat Hanh says, hope is important because it can make the present moment less difficult to bear. If we believe that tomorrow will be better, we can bear a hardship today. So I'm not telling you to throw away hope or to live in despair, but I am telling you that that passive hope, where you say, perhaps today I shall sit down and watch Netflix until the world moves of its own accord. That hope is not serving us. What we need is that catalyst for praxis, that hope, that prayer, that spirit of being that changes what is. A catalyst in chemistry helps to move a reaction. Everything is already there. But in that instant, it changes. Let us use hope as that instant of change. Let us bring the Hanukkah story to bear as that moment where they said, we do not have enough oil, and yet today we have cleaned, we have consecrated, and we shall light the light, and it will be enough even if it is not enough. It was only after that right action of doing that the miracle occurred, that what was not enough was catalyzed, was made good through practicing what was right, that the light of the world was rekindled. Because human beings, as individuals, are never big enough, good enough, or powerful enough to save the entire world. And yet, human beings, together with creativity and possibility, absolutely are. We, together, make miracles vast enough to save and rekindle the light of the universe, to bring peace, if we want it, to bring love bigger than any possibility of the lack. We can be abundance and joy. That is the miracle. That is the spirit of Hanukkah and of this holiday season. Let us bring hope and then bring our work and our joy to the task. Blessed be. And our closing words are by the Reverend Lynn Unger. Come down from the hills, declare the fighting done, be bold, declare victory. Even when the temple is wrecked and the tyrants have not retreated, only coiled back like a snake prepared to strike again. Come down. Try to remember a life gentled by daily acts of domestic faith. The pot set to boil, the bed made up, the table set in calm expectation that when the sun sets, we will still be here. Come down and settle. Unlearn the years of hiding. Light fires that can be seen for miles, that dance and spark and warm the frozen marrow. Set lamps in the window. Declare your presence, your loyalties, the truths for which you do not expect to have to die. It would take a miracle, you say, to carve such a solid life out of the shell of fear. I say, you are the stuff from which such miracles are made. And now, please enjoy our closing music, Where is the Light by Peter Mayer. Feel free to sing along if you desire. Words will be in the chat during the music. Quick technical moment. We'll be right back with you.
When it's late December, dark and cold, where is the light? When old man you was bending low, where is the light? When the sun runs off a bit too soon, where is the light? And there's nothing but a skinny moon, where is the light? Can you tell me where is the light? Where is the light? Where is the light? Oh, the light's inside of me. When it's dark each morning when I rise, where is the light? And it's dark when my eggs are frying, where is the light? And it's dark when off to work I go, where is the light? And it's dark again when I get home, where is the light? Can you tell me where is the light? Where is the light? Where is the light? Oh, the light's inside of me. It's in my skin and in my bones, in my heart and in my soul. That light of light so bright and golden, like a summer day. When the sun goes missing in the sky, it is rising in my eyes, chasing all that winter gloom away. I'm burning bright like kerosene. Where is the light? I'm twinkling like the Pleiades. Where is the light? I'm dancing like a candle flame. Where is the light? And I'm flaming like a fruit flambe. Where is the light? Oh, can you tell me where is the light? Can you tell me where is the light? Can you tell me where is the light? Oh, the light's inside of me. Can you tell me where is the light? Can you tell me where is the light? Oh, can you tell me where is the light? Oh, the light's inside of me. 2, 3, 4. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. I'm gonna let it shine. I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it
And now, If you'll join me in the words to extinguish our chalice flame. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. And so, now, as we go, may we take with us these words by Kristen L. Harper. I do not wish to breathe another breath if it is not shared with others. The breath of life is not mine alone. I brought myself to be with you, hoping that by inhaling the compassion, the courage, the hope found here, I can exhale the fear, the selfishness, the separateness I keep so close to my skin. I cannot live another moment, at least not one of joy, unless you and I find our oneness somewhere among each other, somewhere between the noise, somewhere within the silence of the next breath. Blessed be. And now feel welcome to unmute if you'd like to stay and share in coffee hour time. We will cease to be live on YouTube so that you can share freely. Thank you all so much. How is everybody?
Yeah, doing all right.
Same here, pretty busy, but pretty okay overall. Glad I didn't get COVID, knock on wood, yet.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody could hear me.
We heard you. Take that yet off at the end.